What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So, real quick, if you're wondering why I'm looking like a leprechaun right now, I've once again decided to completely change my room around, and so you might see that right now. I'm still looking for a nice angle to record these types of videos at, so this is just temporary at the moment, and it's probably gonna change very soon. But there was pretty much a news item that literally just broke a few minutes ago when recording this, that I wanted to desperately talk about with y'all. It's about the loot boxes, which of course has been the biggest controversy in gaming of last year. We've seen what happened with, Shadow of War and Battlefront 2, and I probably don't need to introduce the topic to you anymore. You already know what's going on. Over the last few weeks and months, we've also seen that some institutions have really started to look more and more into the loot boxes, seeing as they caused so much controversy. And, they started asking themselves the question whether they should be looked at as gambling or not, right? And so now ESRB has come forward, like I said just today, announcing that they're going to be taking some types of measures against the loot boxes. What they're going to be doing is adding a certain label to every single game box that will, of a certain game that will include them. And so that might sound as a really good thing at first sight. Once you really start looking into it though, you realize there is a huge problem, which is that this label will not just apply for loot boxes being in a game, but for in-game purchases as a whole. Their whole explanation for it was that, they feel that parents, and let's be honest, parents are really the types of people that are going to be looking at, the back of a game box. Gamers don't do that really so much anymore, right? So they realize that parents do not understand what a loot box is. So by explaining it as an in-game purchase, parents will much more easily be able to tell, oh, it means that you can spend even more money if you want after actually purchasing this game, right? Now, like I said, the huge problem pretty much is that once you start going down the list of what they think counts as an in-game purchase, this is pretty much what it contains. I'm just going to read it off my phone right now. They label an in-game purchase as, for example, bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes, mystery awards, but also music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency such as subscriptions, season passes, and upgrades, for example, to disable ads. Like I said, this list is huge, and what that means is that right now, I don't think there's a single, game anymore that comes out, at least the big ones, that do not contain a single one of these items. AKA, this whole label will be worthless, because even if a game might not contain a loot box system or whatever, they will probably still have a season pass or a DLC plan or, some type of added content that you can pay for after the game releases. And there is not necessarily a problem with that. Like, I as a gamer, and I think many of you will agree, we don't necessarily have a problem with good DLC or good expansions that come out after a game's release. Like, if it's just content that's being made for a game you really love, and if it's content that's made after the game actually releases, that is, maybe just a really nice expansion with lots of content or very well made, that is actually worth the price, 10 or 20 bucks or something, we as gamers have no problem paying for a product like that. Clearly, care and effort has been put into that product and it's being sold at a reasonable price that's actually worth it. And so there is no issue with that. But what you get now is that even those games will be having this label on it, and thus every game that comes out will have this label on it. So there's no reason to even, or no way to even tell if a game contains loot boxes or not simply by the cover. And so that's obviously a huge issue. And basically, this is a non-solution. This does not add anything. It's pointless. It's just like, it's like saying, yeah, we're listening to all you gamers, but really we're just not at the same time. So, you can look at it in that way. There's obviously a huge problem with this implementation that they decided to go with. At the same time, though, I will say, to me, the biggest issue with the loot boxes has always lies at the gamers at the end of the day, if you ask me personally. Because, once again, gamers do not really care if a game has a certain label on it or whatever. It's not gonna stop them. But we've seen over the last few years that we, as the gaming community, have started standardizing loot boxes. At first you had people say, oh, it's just cosmetic stuff, so it's fine for it to be in there. Then afterwards, it went a step further every time, right? to the point where now we have pay-to-win stuff. We have loot boxes where you don't even know what you're going to be getting, but just you're paying money for it. And the thing is, that type of content is just super easy to make for developers and is not worth the money. But for those developers and publishers, you know, once again, the amount of time and effort they put into it and the amount of money they make back from it, the difference there is insane. Like, it does not take them any effort to make a certain card pack where you can unlock a player in FIFA that was already in the game anyway. It does not take a lot of effort to create a weapon skin that you can make a part of a loot box that gamers desperately want to get, but they're gonna first have to pay, like, you know, for 20 loot boxes before they finally get it. Once again, there is no effort in that, and so the money they make back for it is totally not worth the amount of time they actually put into it. Value-wise, it doesn't make sense compared to an actual good DLC or expansion or whatever that they did spend lots of time developing. So, you know, like I said, the big problem is with the gaming community, and mainly a certain part of the gaming community, which is the more casual side of things, let's be honest. Like, I think many of us, you and me, we've never really cared for these microtransactions in the first place. It wasn't, you know, it's kind of the casuals, if I can call them like that. And, you know, that maybe it's just a reality check, right? Like, it's those type of people that don't really look into this type of stuff, that don't care for games necessarily, that, you know, love a certain game and afterwards have no problem actually just like spending more money for something that they don't even realize really isn't worth that money. And so we've seen that card packs have gotten huge in FIFA. I think Ultimate Team is like the biggest mode there now. You know, weapon skins in a game like CSGO or in Call of Duty with the loot boxes that you can unpack in front of everyone else in the lobby. It's just gotten to this crazy standard where now every game almost has them, and you know, it's taking away from the actual game itself, because you already pay a very nice amount of money for that certain game, but you don't actually get the content you deserve, which is, you know, stuff they already made even before the game, for example, came out or whatever, or stuff that's simply not worth that money. It's a huge issue, and so I think ultimately gamers are the ones that are going to need to keep standing up about this. We've seen it with Battlefront, we've seen it with Shadow of War. It just needs to keep happening, and I think it will, because I don't think in any way we've seen the end of this whole controversy yet, and this year might be even bigger than last year as far as that goes. So, you know, I don't know if that means boycotting a game or whatever, because once again, that's kind of the hard part about it. I don't feel like I'm the one that ruined, that ruined the way games are nowadays. I never cared for them in the first place, so why should I be the one now to boycott them? That's really, you know, that's like super hard. But by simply sharing negative press about it before games release, or letting other people know that maybe don't care so much about the game in the first place, but at least giving them a signal like, you know, watch out, this game has some practices that really shouldn't be supported, and just making gamers aware that they at least shouldn't be paying for microtransactions, because really, you do not want this to keep going and to get even worse in the future. That's ultimately what's going to need to happen. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. You might have noticed that I've started uploading a little less on the channel, and it's because I wanted to focus a bit more on quality moving forward. And so, you know, the in-depth video series that I've started doing recently has been doing really well. Last video about the PlayStation 5 blew up, has like 200,000 views, which is insane. So thank you all for sharing that video around. And if you actually found the channel because of it, then thank you for subscribing. It means a lot to me. You know, it looks like we're like days away from 100,000, which is absolutely insane to me. So super exciting times ahead. But yeah, for the next couple of weeks or months, I'm going to be focusing more on actual quality content that I want to upload more frequently than I did before. And so the commentaries will take a bit of a, you know, a bit of a break. That's just going to be for purely certain topics that I'm super, you know, excited to talk about, like this one. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and then I hope to see you again next time.